Hey up everyone, welcome back to the Rugby League History channel. Today on the channel I'll be doing my tips and predictions for round 9 of the 2025 NRL season, also known as Magic Round. All matches will be played at Suncorp Stadium. Last week I got 4 out of 8 correct. Potentially could have been 6 out of 8 correct. I mean, I tipped Canterbury, nobody tips Brisbane except probably the most die-hard Brisbane supporter out there. Also the West Tigers and Cronulla game, I tipped Cronulla, and I mean, really, I think they should have won that game, but that's neither here nor there. There was someone in the comment section that said I have no idea and I'm a pommy and I've got no clue about rugby league, but you know, it's a bit harsh, but 4 out of 8, not too bad. The first match to kick off Magic Round is on Friday. It's between Cronulla Sutherland and Parramatta. In the last 10 meetings between these two sides, both teams have won 5 matches each. Cronulla's record at Magic Round is not good. They've won 2 out of 5 times there. As for Parramatta, they've got one of the worst records at Magic Round. They've only won 1 from 5. Now, if I was in charge of the NRL, I wouldn't have Parramatta at Magic Round this year, because it's in my belief that the team that plays the worst at the previous Magic Round shouldn't be invited back for the next one. They should sit it out, because at the last Magic Round, every team put in except for Parramatta. Parramatta was the only team that didn't show up and they got battered. They took the piss out of the fans. I know a few people online who went up to the match, paid for hotels, flights, all that caper. It was a complete waste of time, so that's just my personal opinion anyway. The last time that these two sides met was last year when Mitchell Moses made his return from an injury where he was off for quite a long time. Look, on paper, you'd have to say Cronulla are the better team on paper and they should win this game. But with Mitchell Moses back in the team, he just makes Parramatta look so different. We saw that against the West Tigers. Also, Parramatta are coming off the bye, so they'll be a lot fresher. With Cronulla, I watched the highlights of the game against West Tigers and really they should have won that. I think they should have closed that game out, but they lost narrowly in Golden Point. Now, if I were a neutral, despite Mitchell Moses being there and how they played against West Tigers, I probably would tip Cronulla, but because Parramatta's my team, I'm going to back them. I'm going to put everything on the line and I'm going to back them to win this Friday, so I'll go Parramatta to win by 1 of 12 points. The second match on the Friday is between Sydney Roosters and Redcliffe, or the Dolphins if you want to call them that. With Eastern Suburbs last time out against St George, they had a big win against them on Anzac Day. However, watching the highlights, St George looked pretty woeful at times, so it's hard to get a read on Sydney Roosters, because they've had some performances this year where they've been really good and some performances where they've been really shite. With Redcliffe last time out, they blew it against Canberra. They were up by 18 points and just capitulated, and they'd be really disappointed with that after the last couple of weeks where they put that score on Melbourne. With Magic Round, Sydney Roosters' record there is pretty good. They're one of the better teams at Magic Round, and obviously Redcliffe's just starting out, so their Magic Round record's not as big as Eastern Suburbs. This is a really hard game to call because Redcliffe were back in form. They were good against Canberra. With East, as I said, they played against St George. It's really hard to get a read on how they were really, if you know what I mean. This is a really hard game to call. I'll tip Redcliffe to win by 1 of 12 points. Although I'm not particularly confident, because I wouldn't be surprised if East get another win. But I'll go Redcliffe to win by 1 of 12. Hopefully they don't let me down. The first match on the Saturday is South Sydney against Newcastle. Now, with South Sydney, their record at Magic Round is pretty good, and they've won 6 of the last 10 meetings against Newcastle. With Newcastle, they come into this fixture having lost 5 matches in a row in the league. They're not playing well at the moment, and their record at Magic Round's not particularly good either. South Sydney have also lost 3 matches in a row in the league. With South Sydney last week, I didn't expect them to beat Melbourne because they've never won down there, but they put in a better performance than what I expected. And with Newcastle, they're not playing well. They're just not together as a unit. I don't know what's going on there. They've got to sort it out soon because they're sliding further and further down the table. At the moment, with how things are going, I'm going to tip South to win this game by 1 to 12 points. I just can't pick Newcastle. Logically, I just can't pick them because they're not giving me anything. They're giving me no reason to tip them. So I'm going to go for South Sydney to win this game by 1 to 12 points. The second match on Saturday is between New Zealand and North Queensland. Now, New Zealand's won their last 3 matches in a row against North Queensland. Going into this fixture, both sides are in good form at the moment. New Zealand's won 2 in a row. North Queensland have totally turned the corner. They've won 4 matches in a row in the league, including putting 50 on the Gold Coast last weekend. And when it comes to Magic Round, both of these two sides have a decent record there as well. I think this will be a high quality game. Obviously there's going to be a large number of supporters of both teams at the ground. With North Queensland though, they've just really, I don't know what's happened over the last month. They've just completely changed as a side. They're looking a lot better. They had a slow start against Gold Coast and then just put it together. I think based off what I saw last week and the last couple of weeks, I'm going to tip North Queensland to win. I'm going to go for North Queensland to win this match by 1 to 12 points. I think they can make it 5 matches in a row in the league. The third match on the Saturday is between West Tigers and St George. Now with West Tigers, their record at Magic Round's pretty good. They've won 3 out of 5. With St George, they've never won at Magic Round. Their record is absolutely atrocious. And they come into this fixture having played woefully on Anzac Day. I mean, looking at the highlights, they're awful. And how many times did Gutherson fall for the dummy at fullback? I think he was sold 3 times. With West Tigers, look, I think if Cronulla were a bit more composed towards the back end of the game, and especially Golden Point, they don't win, but they won, and credit to them, and they'll have a lot of confidence going into that match up there in Brisbane for Magic Round. No doubt with St George, they're going to get flogged at training this week. Shane Flanagan would be absolutely fucking fuming with that performance. Based off what I've seen, I'm going to go for West Tigers to win this game. I'm going to go for them to win by 1 to 12 points. I think they'll get a lot of confidence from last week, and I think they'll back it up this week against St George. First match on the Sunday is Gold Coast against Canterbury Bankstown. With the Magic Round record for Canterbury Bankstown, they've never won there at Magic Round, so their record is shocking like St George. Gold Coast, their record is slightly better at Magic Round. They do come into this fixture having lost 4 matches in a row in the league, including having 50 put on them last week up there in Townsville, which means that they're out of the race for the Premiership technically. I'm pretty sure Des Hasler, he must have ripped the door off the Injuries like he did all them years ago at Parramatta Stadium. He would have been fuming. Canterbury Bankstown, everyone tipped them against Brisbane. They were wearing their 1935 heritage shirt and, well, they played like the 1935 team on Thursday. They were shocking. Just everything that could go wrong went wrong for them, and they had their first loss of the year. But I think for this match, based on what I've seen over the last couple of weeks, the Gold Coast, they just can't defend that well, and that's always been an issue for them last couple of seasons. And Canterbury Bankstown, they'll be absolutely fuming after what happened on Thursday night. They'll want to make amends for that. And I'm going to go for them to win by 13 plus. I think they're going to bounce back, and I think they're going to bounce back in a big way. The second match on the Sunday is between Penrith and Brisbane. Now, with Brisbane, their record at Magic Round is one of the best. They've won 4 out of 5 there. And with Penrith, their record's not too bad either. Penrith at the moment are bottom of the table. Can you believe that? Bottom of the table. But to be fair, they're playing like one of the bottom of the table teams. They lost against Manly last week in what I can describe as a sin binathon. And I thought that they were going to come back in that match, Penrith, and then when the disallowed try happened and Manly scored again, it just kind of killed the game for them. With Brisbane, they were on fire. They were on fire against Canterbury Bankstown. They raced out to that big lead, and they put the queue in the rack, I think, a bit, but a very impressive display by them. With how these teams are playing, look, Penrith at the moment, they're just taking the piss out of me, because whenever I tip them to win, they lose, and whenever I tip against them, they win. And Brisbane, they've had some up and down performances this year, but Penrith's defence, I don't know what's going on there. It's just not good. It's shocking. So until they can fix that, I don't think I can tip them at the moment. So I'm going to go for Brisbane to win this game by 1 of 12 points. And the final game to close out Magic Round is between Melbourne and Canberra. Melbourne's record at Magic Round is 3 from 5. And Canberra have one of the best records at Magic Round. They've won 4 from 5. This is going to be a really good match, high quality game, because Canberra are up near the top of the table, so are Melbourne. Both have recorded a few wins this year. Canberra, very impressive last week to come back from that big margin down against Redcliffe and record a victory at home. And Melbourne had a pretty comfortable win against South Sydney down there in Melbourne. Some people have described this game as a bit of a rivalry. I did a video on this a couple of years ago. You can go check it out. I don't consider it a rivalry, but Canberra certainly are a bit of a bogey team for Melbourne, especially down there. But at Suncorp, Melbourne are very good at Suncorp, and there's a few reasons behind that. But I know a few people will be tipping Canberra to win this game, but I'm going to go for Melbourne to win. I'm going to go for Melbourne to win this game by 1 to 12 points. So that concludes my tips for round 9 of the 2025 NRL season. I hope you enjoyed these tips. If you did, let me know in the comment section below. Let me know who you're tipping. Last week, once again, over 2,000 views for the video. Good numbers for the channel. Just remember, at the end of the day, it's just tips. It's a bit of fun. Don't take it too seriously. Just because someone tips different to you doesn't mean that they got no idea. I mean, to me, it's just a bit childish when people carry on like that. But anyway, this has been Rugby League History, and I'll catch us all later in the next one. Alright, tatty bye for now.